Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Out with the old and in with the new. Is that what's going on right here? This is the side-by-side comparison between the Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 edition. Let's take a look and see if new really does mean better. Now, when it comes to look and feel between these two devices, there is definitely an evolution. With the Note 10.1 from last year, we see the same shiny backing we always see in older Samsung products. Plasticky, and as you can see, this one's been through a lot as I've had it for over a year, but you can see it's definitely gets fingerprints, scratches, and all that kind of stuff right on it. One thing that I do like about this device that I have to admit I'm disappointed that the new one doesn't have is front speakers on the side. Other than that, it's a bit heavy by today's standards. However, by yesteryear's standards, it did pretty well. So in terms of speed, there was never any real issue, but its main downside was its screen as a 720p to screen. When it comes to the new Note 10.1 2014 edition, we have a much nicer looking back that does not get scratches or fingerprints at all, really. Very good when it comes to that, and definitely a more premium feel. One of the lightest tablets out on the market. It definitely is very light, very thin, and it makes up for it definitely compared to last year's model. Now this one is, of course, again, very smooth and very quick. However, the above 1080p screen on this one definitely stands out. So overall, for look and feel, it will go to the new Note 10.1, although I do miss the front speakers that are now on the side right here. Now, the first thing when it comes to web browsing that we compare is the screen quality. Now, when it comes to the old Note 10.1, you have a 1280 by 800 screen, which is, not to say the least, very disappointing by today's standards. Today's standards, even that on a 7-inch is okay, but really you want a 1080p screen, especially on a 10-inch. The new Note 10.1 goes above and beyond that and goes to what some people are now referring to as 2K, which is 2560 by 1600, which is well beyond 1080p. This is 299 pixels per inch, almost double the 149 that the original Note 10.1 produced. Now, when this will be most apparent is when zoomed all the way out. So first, let's check out their speeds on web browsing. And both are loading. And the new Note 10.1 2014 finished first. Not surprising, but by how much? Well, there we go. So now they're both finished, and let's check them out and see how they move. So in terms of responsiveness, you can kind of see very similar in how they both respond. Let's try the pinch to zoom. Even though it hasn't loaded, looks like properly there, but let's do that. So we can notice a little bit of speed difference on the Note 10.1 2014. And let's do a double tap. Okay, one more time. Obviously not too much needs to do on the double tap when it's that far zoomed in. But just to give you an idea again of the difference in pixels, when we zoom out far, let's put them both in portrait mode. And when we zoom in on both devices, you can see you can pretty much read on this side already, whereas this one's still pretty fuzzy. We zoom in a little bit more. Again, it's just more apparent than you could read on this side versus you can't really read on the old one. So the pixels per inch is going to be a difference. In terms of how they both function, both of them have the pen feature, which gives you a web browsing style experience. So both load pretty well. Although this one will just be better on the new one just for clarity, as well as slightly faster when it comes to speed. Now when it comes to the music, the first thing we always have to go over is where the speakers are placed. On the old Note 10.1, they were placed predominantly right in the front, which of course you know is my favorite type of placement. On the new Note, they're placed on the sides, still not on the back, which is again the least ideal place, but not on the front. So we're going to test both out and see how they play. First we're going to start off with the old Note 10.1 and then switch to the new one and go back and forth. Alright, let's play it out.
But all that money don't equal the price of fame. From LA to New York, Seattle to the Bay, West Palm, night flights to Oahu, Mission Lake, y'all pulled out Vegas, Southern State, last show in Cali, headed down to the state. I was a boy with a dream, had my head in the clouds. Now I'm sleeping first class, got a bed in the clouds. Hit my pops to pick me up, and he said he was proud. King shit with a beanie on instead of a crown. Yeah, counting all my blessings. Started from the bottom, now I'm sitting at the most high. Keeps it to the business, now I'm literally so fly. Motivated by my brokenness, guess that's why they call it coach, right? Yeah. Back when I was broke, I was asking why I go through all this trouble, wipe the tears up out of my eye. Connected to my fans like we up on that Wi-Fi. They say the sky's the limit, I'm just starting and I'm sky high. Last time, silly hoes, airplane,
So when it comes to these two, both of them are really good when it comes to speaker quality. There's a couple of differences, but overall what I've been getting is this one is obviously going to be better when it's facing you, and if you're just one person viewing it, it kind of just plays out better. However, if you kind of have two people or multiple people in a group, this one seems to be a little bit louder. And also in around a group, when you're off to the side more viewing it, then you get the more effect out of the side speakers. So I'm going to call this one a draw because they're both really good speakers and neither one is bad per se in terms of the tablet sound. Now when it comes to watching movies, this is obviously going to play into a couple of factors. One of the main ones being though clarity, which is to the new Note 10.1 compared to the old model. On the new one you will see definitely better clarity in all of your subjects and images, but first let's play the video and see how they both play out.
Gosh, the more I see the GS4, the more I want one.
Then you should get one.
You're still locked in.
I mean, they have Smart Switch that transfers everything over for you.
I don't know if I feel like learning how to use it on the phone.
You had to learn how to use your phone at one point, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you don't think you can do that again?
I see what you did there. Thanks for having us over.
Easily transfer text.
All right. So as you can see, very similar, a little bit sharper, especially with things like right here. I wanted to stop at the accessory sold separately part so you can see it's actually a bit sharper on here. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's very obviously small font, but I can definitely notice it immediately that I can read it here, whereas I kind of have to squint for the top frame. So overall, you will get a better screen quality with the Note 10.1, especially when watching 1080p content. You're going to see a lot better in your streaming services on the Note 10.1 2014 edition. When it comes to photo quality, we have a 8 megapixel on the new tablet with the 2 megapixel on the front, and on the old Note 10.1 we have a 5 megapixel on the rear and a 1.9 on the front. How they differ? Well, definitely in terms of clarity, or in terms of color reproduction, you can see that the Note 10.1 does a lot better job on the 2014 edition compared to the last year's model. However, also clarity is definitely a point as well, as when we zoom into the Samsung, you just see it's a little bit finer around the edges, on the letters in comparison to the older version, just a little bit less noise. When it comes to flat out color reproduction, we do have a bit better job again on the newer device compared to the older one. Also a little bit different in terms of lighting, how much light they both let through, but really in terms of color reproduction, this one's just a little bit more accurate, especially on the yellow it really shows. Green, they're fairly similar, so is the red, although that one looks a little bit more orange. But definitely on the yellow you can easily tell a difference, whereas this is what it looks like and this is more of like a goldish. In terms of the front camera, again we have more detail on this one, whereas as you can see on the goatee, just a little bit better detailed when it comes to this. Now this one shouldn't be too much difference, but you can just see it seemed to process the image a bit better. So overall camera quality did improve on the newest version, so the Note 10.1 2014 edition will be the better for the camera quality. Now when it comes to gaming, this really is just an example of the next evolution. Both are really good with gaming, however the 2014 edition does a much better job of doing higher end games compared to last year's model. Last year's model did good with gaming. I never had any complaints about it last year. However, you definitely could tell with the newer games that have come out this year that it has had some issues keeping up. So if you are a gamer, obviously the new one is well worth it. Now when it comes to battery life, both tablets are going to be good and both tablets are going to get you over the 8-hour mark. However, the Note 10.1 will pretty much stop around the 8-hour mark normally and can go up to 10 hours if you put it on power saving mode. The new Note 10.1 though will definitely get you past the 10-hour mark usually, and I can stretch it out to about 11 hours, 11 and a half is what I've seen for the most part, but definitely both can be used by the average user in about 2 to 3 days, just depending on how you use it, of course. If you're gaming a lot, you will be recharging it probably after 1 day usage. If you're just using it here and there, you can definitely go a couple of days. Now when it comes to extras, both devices really have almost all the same extras. You both have an S Pen, you both have a micro SD card, you both have an IR blaster. So what do you really have extra on the new version that you didn't have on the old version? Well, it's really going to go to software capabilities. At least for right now, we don't know what benefits the old Note 10.1 will end up getting in the new software enhancements for the Note 10.1 2014 edition. Meaning that things like the Air Command and a lot of the new features that come with it, as well as how split screen now works, where you can have 2 apps simultaneously and then drag and drop feature, is a huge thing that's really nice about the new version for this year. So overall, which one will go further with extras? I will go with the Note 2014 edition just for the fact that the software extras are definitely worth it. Now when it comes to price point, there's obviously a big difference here. For last year's model, it currently is going at $449 for a new device. Now obviously this can go for a lot cheaper if you get refurbished and used at this point, or maybe even some sales will come more often now. But normal price is $449 for the 16 gig model. The new Note 10.1 is only $100 more. So which one gives you more bang for your buck? Well, we'll go over that in a second, but in terms of price point, it will go to the older Note 10.1 for giving you a 16 gig tablet that for 10-inch is really still fast, very functional, and good for basic users. Alright, let's dial them up and see which one is one. When it comes to look and feel, you have a better look and feel with the newer tablet by far. It just feels more premium and definitely stands out. When it comes to web browsing, the newer tablet will take it just for the slightly faster speed, but more so definitely when it comes to clarity on the web browser. When it comes to music, this is pretty much a tie. Both are really great speakers. The last year's Note was the best speakers on a tablet by far. This year's is still really good, but not necessarily better than last year's. When it comes to watching movies or gaming, it's going to go for the new one just because better quality again on the screen and better graphics card for gaming. When it comes to the camera, it's going to be a better overall visual, especially with the 8 megapixel versus the 5 megapixel, and we saw the clarity makes a difference, but also the color reproduction does as well. When it comes to battery life, it's going to go to the new one just for the fact that the battery life is going to be better overall, just by an hour or two for most typical usage. And when it comes to extras, just the new software enhancements on the new Note 10.1 just makes a difference for your overall usage of the device, and it just feels a bit more polished. And when it comes to price point, the old Note 10.1 will take this one as it is $100 cheaper. So when we tally it all up, yes, the new Note 10.1 is by far better than last year's version. You see lots of great improvements on it, and it really just took last year's two top tablets, which was the Note 10.1 and the Nexus 10, put them together and updated the software to the new Samsung devices. All this combined makes it for a hard to beat tablet and hard to find one better for your money. Alright, thank you for watching this side-by-side comparison. Please give a thumbs up down below, and if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.